Welcome back. Coming up on 11 minutes to the top of the hour. And this was not only the first international trip for Donald Trump as president, this was the first international trip for Melania Trump as First Lady. And this week, we've learned a little bit more about her.
Yeah, she seemed to be somewhat comfortable in her role. A lot of people was their takeaway. But she certainly had some moments that are coming into question for some people, just because I think people want to know more about her, and she does seem almost untouchable to some degree. But then you see moments like this, where she's sitting in a classroom, obviously a place where she is so comfortable with children, something that you would think is probably going to be a real cause for her, something that she would want to take up. She was talking to some of the sick kids there, and also her moment with the Pope. So let's bring in Kate Anderson-Brower to talk more about this. Kate, based on everything we saw of her this week, what is your headline, your takeaway about who this woman is?
Well, I think she did well this week. I think she showed a lot of self-confidence, but I think she also sort of remains an enigma. I mean, clearly, no one really knew that she was Catholic until this meeting with the Pope. She was married to Donald Trump in an Episcopal church. Their son was baptized there. But I think it speaks, if you read between the lines, she picked a school in Washington, St. Andrews, which has about 18% of the class is Catholic. So you see that her true identity is coming through a little bit more, and you saw a really deeply moving moment there, I think, when she was visiting with those children in the hospital. She wrote a letter to the Pope asking to visit this hospital. I think we're seeing a softer side of Melania Trump.
She tweeted, actually, after her visit with the Pope, "Today's visit with His Holiness Pope Francis is one I'll never forget. I was humbled by the honor. Blessings to all." What do you make of her openness about her religion?
I think that, we saw back in February, she spoke at a rally for her husband, and she gave the Lord's Prayer. And I think we see now why religion is so important to her. But we don't know, for instance, if she goes to Mass. We don't know anything about her Catholicism. I think she wants to keep that private. But I think also this Dolce & Gabbana coat that she wore that was, I think, valued at $51,000.
It had a lot of people riled up, because that's some people's annual salary.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're saying, what is she doing wearing this coat? To that, you say what?
I think that the whole Trump brand is about opulence and glamour, and I don't think it's going to have a huge impact. The people who like him don't mind. And I think, for the hand swat and other things that we saw on this trip, that photo, the video of her kind of swatting away his hand, I don't think that hurts her, because I think his supporters don't care and don't believe it was a real hand swat, and the people who don't like Trump sort of
here it is, just so I can reference our viewers if they've missed it. This is what some people believe. He was reaching for her hand, and she swatted him away. But this is a couple from whom we don't see a lot of affection. I mean, we saw President Obama and even both of the Bush couples holding hands. There was some affection that we saw in them, and we don't see so much of that.
That's true. I mean,
couple.
We don't see it at all. I mean, look at the Reagans, like you said, the Bushes and the Obamas. I think, the Fords, the Carters, pretty much every presidential couple in this sort of TV era, you've seen them display some public affection. Interestingly enough, the Kennedys didn't really hold hands very often, but that was a different time, and they were very private about their relationship. And I think you see that with the Trumps. Look, this is the First Lady who hasn't lived in the White House immediately. So I think they have a different marriage. They don't live together, and it's not troublesome for them.
This interview that she had with Du Jour magazine about his decision to run for president gives us some insight into that, what you're talking about, how she hasn't moved to the White House yet. She said in that interview, "I said to him, you really need to think, because our family life will change. The three of us will change. I know what it takes, traveling and all that stuff. If he really wanted to do that, I would support him 100%, but I would also be a mom first. I would be with our son. I would be home." Is there a point where we'll see a transition for her embracing her role more, and help us understand the pressure she's under to do so?
I think she's under a tremendous amount of pressure, and I've spoken with friends of hers who say that she is going to be moving here this summer. Obviously, Barron's going to be starting school in Potomac, Maryland, outside of Washington, either late August or early September. So once she moves to the White House, she's going to have to really pick this cause and be committed to it. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of her.
All righty. Kate Anderson Brower, thank you for your perspective. Good to have you here today.
Thank you.